Well, we did not ride our motorcycles. We may ride them this afternoon, but no. You would not believe how much this chair cost. Don't do that. Good Lord. No, I'm not going to pick you up. I'm busy. Charlie raked pine straw yesterday, all day actually, and woke up with a pretty bad backache this morning. So we may ride the bike this afternoon over to our vet in Minden, Louisiana, and pick up the dog's meds. Because we get them, it's worth the drive over there because we get them so much cheaper. Okay, I am 150, now I'm starting at 180. 180 goes this way. And then I'm going to 220, 320, who knows? I'll go as far as I can today. Let's get started. And this is exactly why you will never lick me. That's just disgusting. Won't be long, you'll be getting knocked over by a cat because the cat's tail is about 2 inches behind you. So I am already up to 320. And I don't know what time it is, but it's still before lunch. I was really hoping tomorrow's going to be a kind of a bad day, windy and all that. And I was hoping I could get this sanded up to at least 800 today so I could heat treat it and temper it. And tomorrow come out here and clean it up and buff it. We'll see. I'm not gonna be in a hurry, but I'm making good progress. I never should have oiled the goosenecks. These are goosenecks. I don't know what I was thinking, but I oiled these so they would move a little easier. And now I'm having a hard time keeping them in their place. I was thinking about people I have known in my life and how I watch some people slowly sink into a state of perpetual unhappiness. And instead of trying to dig themselves out of the misery and the unhappiness that they feel they're in, they get mad at people around them who are not miserable and unhappy. So they do the opposite of what normal people would do. A normal person would try to figure out what's wrong in their life and change it so they can be happy again. But you have, sociopaths that just don't want anybody else to be, they don't want to be happy. Well, there we go. If you get knocked over, I'll say, look, I'm busy, okay? They get so used to being in that state of unhappiness and depression and misery that I think it may be scary for them to feel any other way. So, the old saying, misery loves company, I guarantee you there is some truth. There's a reason that's a cliche. There is some truth to that. Yeah, you're not in the way. Anyway, I was thinking about the guy I just blocked, how for the longest it was normal comments. Oh, come on now, come on. See, you're blocking. This is my time to shine. Okay. Yeah, anything, that's what I'm realizing. Anything, if I'm not paying attention to her, yeah, I'm going to set her on the floor and see how long that lasts. Maybe she'll bother Breezy. Breezy, yeah, there you go. Go bother Breezy. Well, I was thinking about the guy I blocked. I may be completely wrong about this. I may just have said something that pissed him off and he decided he was going to, leave douchebag comments from now on. Who knows? The thing is, I'm not going to dwell on it or let anybody else make me be unhappy or miserable. There's another person that I think was that type of person. You remember the guy that left in the comments that he hated the knife I sold him, his neck knife, so I offered to give him his money back. And that wasn't what he wanted. I think he had some mental issues, depression, unhappiness, misery. The people that, here's a perfect example. The people, I upload a video, or actually I make it public at 3:30, most times 4 a.m. in the morning. And almost instantly, I get a thumbs down, or 3 or 4. Now, I don't care about thumbs downs. It doesn't take any kind of Googling at all to know that a thumbs down is as good as a thumbs up. But some people are so miserable that the only millisecond of happiness they get is trying to bring that unhappiness into other people's lives, trying to infect you with their misery. They can't find a way to break out of their own misery. So their defense, their reaction is to try and make others miserable. And I don't even think this is a theory at this point. I think psychiatrists would agree with my hypotheses that unhappy people who can't find a reason for their unhappiness and can't find a way to fix it, the way they react is to try and create other unhappy people or try to infect other people with their unhappiness. And that makes me feel very bad for people. In most parts, not most, but in a lot of the world, the fact that you live indoors and eat every day is the dream of some people. And no matter how bad you have it, if you can surf a TV and sit in a recliner, and go to bed at night, feel safe, there are people that would die to have the kind of life you have. Simple and basic. Just the basic necessities. Food and shelter. And some people aren't happy with that. And the thing is, they don't know what it is that will make them happy. And I swear that unhappiness becomes a habit, a hole that they can't find a way out of. And to fight back against the unhappiness, all I can think of doing is trying to make other people unhappy too. That's the way I think, and I don't think I'm wrong. I've had a lot of years to think about this, both sitting in the truck behind the wheel. I mean, you can even see it, the way people drive when they're angry. And something as simple as someone coming on the highway, trying to enter the interstate, and instead of just maintaining their speed, they'll speed up and try to block them, and they'll try to prevent them from entering the highway. They'll try to hassle them and make them mad. I mean, it's a form of road rage, but it's also a form of mental problem. I've seen it so much. The other day, this happened to Charlie and I. We were in miles of stopped traffic, and the traffic would move forward about 20 feet, stop, 20 feet, stop, 20 feet, stop. You cannot balance a motorcycle with your feet off the ground at 1 or 2 or 3 miles an hour. You can't. It just doesn't do it. Try sitting on a bicycle and not moving with your feet off the ground. So what we were doing is letting the traffic get a couple of 100 feet ahead of us, and then we would move up to the traffic. Now, we were on our motorcycles, in case I didn't mention that. And for some reason, this infuriated the guy behind us. He wanted us to inch instead of move forward and stop, move forward and stop. So he did something really evil. He had it was a budget rental truck. And he took a steering wheel and he forced the nose of his truck over in front of a car that was in the other lane, the left lane, and got in front of us. And in the meantime, we're in the process of moving forward to the traffic again. And I guess just getting in front of us was what he wanted, not changing lanes. Because he speeded up and he came over right beside me and moved me off into the breakdown lane. So I put my brakes on and I got behind him and I came up beside him. Here's his window. And I yelled a few things in his window. Stop and get out. Let's talk about it. He wouldn't even look at me. So those kind of people want to reach out and inflict and infect other people with their stupidity or their anger or their rage or their unhappiness. And I think the best you can do is avoid them. You can't make them happy. You can't change them. You can't change whatever situation is going on in their life that makes them miserable and unhappy. And your only defense is to get them out of your life. And that's why I blocked that guy. His problem isn't with me. Maybe I said something that started him being unhappy. I don't know. See, I don't even care. I'm not going to give people like that too much of my time. I'm thinking about this as a whole, not about that particular person, how I've seen it my whole life. Mental issues. Anybody who's ever had to work with, lots of people, I'm sure you've come across some people who there's nothing you can say or do to get along with them, nothing. And you come to realize that your only defense is to just avoid them. I worked with, here's just something, a funny observation. I was working for a stallion oil field company. And there's a black guy there, and we became, I'm not hanging around, not hanging out buddies, but work friends. And him and his dad both worked there, so sometimes he would be stuck there waiting for his dad to come back to the terminal so he'd catch a ride home with his dad, because he lived in a home next to his father. And if I happened to, I went right by his house, if I happened to be there going home, I would offer him a ride to his house so he didn't have to wait for his dad. And sometimes, there wasn't many people I would loan tools to, but he was one of them where if he didn't have a particular tool, I would loan him one of mine, or vice versa. If I needed a valve, he would loan me one of his. And anyway, we became work friends. Well, he's playing. So one day, it was, dark, early in the morning, and he was standing near his truck, and there was 3 other black guys there, standing there talking to him. Well, I went up and was talking to him and saying good morning, and he completely ignored me. He treated me like we weren't friendly, And then like this light went off. Oh, okay, you can't be friendly to a white guy if you're around other black people. I get it. Yeah, ding. And yeah, it totally changed the way I felt about the guy. I liked him. And, you know, we could have been fishing buddies because we had a lot in common. He was a country boy, although I hate to use the word boy because somebody made, you know what I mean, a country man. And had horses and my kind of people. Had fished. His dad fished. I liked his dad. His dad was a great dude. And yeah, that was one of them things where the light goes off and you're almost embarrassed that you realized it so late. And okay, I got it. And I didn't offer him rides home after that. You know, if you want to be that kind of person, fine. You be that kind of person without me. And that was, Stallion was the first job I had after an entire lifetime of working by myself or with my wife. And I remember being astonished at the behavior of adult men. It's not like people had just started behaving like this. It's just that it's my first time being amongst other people. And, you know, I'm pretty savvy as far as being careful around people in cities and stuff like that. I'm pretty savvy as far as recognizing danger. But this was an eye-opening experience. I had more stuff stolen from me working at work by the people who I worked with than I've ever had stolen in my life. Something as simple as a freaking coffee cup in the office. I was sitting there at a table just like this, filling out my logbooks. At the end of the day, you'd fill out your paperwork, you'd turn it at the office and go home. Well, I was drinking a cup of coffee in my personal insulated stainless coffee mug. And I finished my paperwork. I set my coffee mug down along with all my other belongings right there at the table. I turned around and handed my paperwork in. There's a cat jumping down. Boy. And I turned back around and my coffee cup's gone. In like a millisecond, somebody had watched me long enough to turn away from my coffee cup and they stole my coffee cup. And that wasn't the only thing. It was tons of stuff. They would steal, you can laugh, but we had these things called rubbers, and they would go inside your hoses. And basically, they were just rubber gaskets, but you had to have them in order to create enough suction to pull salt water off or to blow something on. And they were hard to come by. And they would give them to you inside. You know, the mechanics had them, and if you needed them, you would go in and ask for some, and they would give you some. Well, these guys were such thieves that instead of walking 100 feet to the mechanic's shop to get these rubber gaskets, they would reach over to your truck and take one off of your hose, and you'd go to work, and you'd have no rubbers on your hose. I mean, so, you know, it's such an easy thing to go get rubbers. So I always kept the rubber gaskets in my briefcase. And that was another thing. If you left your briefcase open anywhere, they would reach in and take shit out of your briefcase, whether it was a calculator. I had never in my life experienced such theft by people you work with. It was just mind-boggling that you couldn't even trust the people you work with. Oh, and one of the things I think about a lot was if you were one of the better workers and you got a lot of work done, they would give you this aluminum pipe wrench. The aluminum pipe wrench was 4 feet long, but it only weighed about 10 pounds. Otherwise, you had to carry this pipe wrench around with you. That was about 45 pounds. And I got one pretty quickly. Upon getting there, I was given an aluminum pipe wrench, which was sort of a status symbol, you know. And back then I had this Hyundai, since it was terribly muddy and stinky. Everything you did in the oil field stunk. And I didn't want to get that in my pickup truck. So I bought this little junk car and I kept all my tools in it. And I just drove that back and forth to work. And it was a hatchback. Well, same thing. One day I started doing my paperwork in my truck and then going in and handing it in, since I got to the point where I didn't want to be around any of them people because they were bad people. And I lifted my hatchback up, reached in, grabbed my paperwork, went in the door of the office, laid my paperwork in, turned around, came back out, and some MFer had, in that, we're talking about 2.5, 3 seconds, had reached into my hatchback and stole my aluminum pipe wrench. I was just blown away at the degree of theft. And to have this theft occur or be perpetrated by people you worked with, it was just mind-blowing that you couldn't trust people you worked with. Mind-blowing. Yeah, even at my, advanced age, I learned a lot about people. And, I know it sounds bad, but I kind of learned that you just have to stick to your own kind. We're in the Deep South, and you have to live within the social norms, the accepted practices, which are by and large unspoken. But, I'm from New England originally, and when I was in the Army, some of my best friends were black guys. But it's just not possible here in this Deep South society for black guys and white guys to be friends and hang out and not have this weird thing that's got to follow you around with other black people who don't like the fact that you're friends, or he's friends with you, or you're friends with him. And I kind of had my feelings hurt, to tell you the truth, after a year of working there and being friends with him. I'm not going to say his name, but it was kind of, it hurt my feelings when I realized that what was going on. He didn't want to be friendly to me in front of his black friends, or else maybe he wouldn't be black enough. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But, I'm a bit naive, and my naivete is mostly a result of all those years of being by myself in the truck. And I learned a lot real fast. As a matter of fact, the next job, I lost it for getting in a fight with a black dude. And it wasn't even a fight. And to tell you the truth, I still don't know what it was over. He was nuts. And it started with him telling me my first day there that they were on a work slowdown. Well, I thought this guy was a boss or something telling me, and I didn't understand what a work slowdown was. And I just worked normal, and it made him mad. Basically, he had to pull 3 wells a day, which was very easy to do. I mean, it was a long day. It was a 12 or 14-hour day, which you had to do that every day, whether you pulled 2 wells or 4 wells. And some days I could easily get 4 wells, but they weren't paying something called game time, so I just continued giving them 3 wells because it didn't benefit me to, I wasn't getting paid anymore to work any harder. I gave him a good, honest day's work. Well, this infuriated this black guy, and his threats got worse and worse and worse and worse. And his name, I still remember his name. His name was Vernon Bell. His full name was Vernon Memphis Bell. And how he was a truck driver is beyond me, because he had a record a mile long. So one night I am fueling up. It was dark. I'm at the fuel pump on our yard, and he pulls up to the other fuel pump beside me. I'm not even paying attention to him. And he walks up behind me and hits me in the back of the head. All this because I was not going to slow down. I was going to continue working a normal amount. I wasn't killing myself, but I wasn't dragging my feet. And what he told me was that they wanted more money. Well, this, at that time, was the most money I'd ever got paid per hour. It was a great job. They didn't have insurance. And they didn't tell you that till they hired you, that they had no insurance. I was pissed. But anyway, he walked up behind me while I was fueling my truck up, hit me in the back of the head, didn't knock me out, didn't faze me, didn't even piss me off. I turned around to see what the hell just happened, and then he punched me right in the face. I am not a tough guy, but I've been in enough fights to know that I can hit pretty hard. And boy, I wanted to get a piece of this guy, but he ran. He freaking ran. I couldn't catch him. I can't run. I mean, even at that time, I had serious issues, and I knew what they are, and I just kept them to myself, because you could lose your job if they knew you weren't 100%. Plus, we were on gravel, and I certainly couldn't run on gravel. So I tried to get a hold of this guy, and he wouldn't get close enough for me to hit him. Of course, now that I'm facing him, now the fight's over, right? He hit me twice, like a freaking girl, I gotta tell you. Didn't even hurt. My wife could hit harder than him. And then I lost my job. I got fired over that. I didn't even get a chance to hit him. And I think about that. Losing my job would have been fine if I had gotten to hit him. But anyway, working with people was a real eye-opening experience. And working in the Deep South, let's just say that I am truly glad I'm retired. And if I ever had to go back to work, it would be as an owner-operator or a long-haul trucker. I would not work with people ever again. That is more people than I ever want to deal with again. You know, the oil field was, to me, at my age, I went into it at an older age. I went into the oil field when guys that age were getting held out because they couldn't do it anymore because it's hard work. And it was hard work. And I don't know how anybody had any energy to do anything but work and drag yourself home. Never mind all the little petty nonsense. But I would not go back to... I couldn't work at Walmart. I couldn't work anywhere where you had to be around people all the time. And there's something that happened just the other day. I still haven't told you about it because it still makes me mad. And I don't want y'all to think I'm some kind of psychopath who has anger issues, because I don't. But there is a few things that make me mad. And one of them that makes me mad when somebody flips me the bird for no reason. And this happened at Lowe's. An employee, a person that works at Lowe's over in Marshall. I'll tell you the story. What the hell? You may never see this just because that's a whole lot of talking. I went to Lowe's to get that lumber for right behind you there is my porch that I built the other day. No. I went, I got I knew what I wanted. It was a little small piece of plywood, and what was I doing with it? I can't remember. I just had one little project, and I couldn't finish it without this little piece of plywood. For the life of me, I can't remember what I was doing. Oh, right. When I was building the generator box, I needed the plywood to go around the outside of the exhaust fan. I'm going to take a break. So, I decided to drive around the back of Lowe's because there was a plant truck in the front of Lowe's and they were unloading plants. So it was one way, and it was really busy, and there was people pushing their carts across. So I decided to go around the back side of Lowe's because where I really wanted to be was on the end of it where you can load your truck, because right there is where the little pieces of plywood, they sell 2x2, 2x4, half sheets. And I wanted to run in there, grab it, and run back home and get back on this project. Well, I go all the way around the building, right up to the end, and there's this gooseneck trailer parked on one side and lumber on the other side, and about 12 feet between them. Well, there's nobody there except this one kid, and he's standing in the middle of this 12 feet. I can't go around him on the left, I can't go around him on the right. So I stop. This is a Lowe's employee, and he's texting on his phone. And I wait. I'm thinking, well, he'll notice me and step to the side. And he looks up from his texting, and he looks back down and continues to text. So I waited. I thought, well, maybe he's going to finish his text, and then he'll step out of the way. I'm thinking, this is kind of weird. Well, he won't move. So I inch up a little further, and I roll down my window to stick my head out the window, and I said, hey, you mind stepping to the side so I can get through here? And he says, it's a loading zone. Like that. And I said, well, it's not a loading zone if there's no loading going on. The only thing preventing me from driving through here is you standing in the 12-foot driveway here. Now move to the side to let me through. And he moves just enough for me to drive through there. And I'm thinking, my God, that's freaking weird. What a nut. So I drive through, and I just happen to look down in my mirror, and this son of a bitch is flipping me the bird behind my back, not thinking I'm looking in my mirror seeing him. And I'm telling you, there's very few things that will flip my switch. And if my wife ever gets to tell you some stories about me and me being flipped the bird, I don't know what it is, but that's my switch. Anyway, I got mad. I slammed my brakes on. I threw my door open. I stepped out and I walked back there to this young man in his early 20s. And we had words. And I told him this was going to end one of two ways. One of us is going to jail, or he was going to apologize. Now, by now, he's got all his fellow employees standing around, and he's weighing his chances. I told him how old I was. I said, how are you going to tell your friends a senior citizen beat your ass? And what about all these friends looking at you? You want to get your ass beat in front of them, or you want to just apologize and we'll have a nice day? So he said, I'm real sorry, real quiet. And I said, I can't hear you. You flipped me the bird when all your friends were looking. You're going to have to apologize so they can hear you. Anyway, he apologized loudly, and I went about I'm too old for this nonsense. But, boy, I tell you, you just can't go anywhere. You can't even work without encountering these people. I don't know what has happened, but I'm to the point now where I don't want to go anywhere except on my motorcycle. It's the fun of riding a motorcycle negates the negative feelings I get from being around strangers. So until the balance is not in favor of fun, I'm going to keep riding my motorcycle, but I venture out from my little domain here as infrequently as humanly possible. And this is my world, and nobody's welcome in it. I hate being this way, but I've led a long and hard life, and I've had to fight. Never wanted to, don't like fighting, never enjoyed fighting. But there's been times when there simply was no way to avoid it. And Stallion was one of them. And that other place I work where that guy hit me for no reason, or, he had reasons, but I didn't care what his reasons were. Anyway, I'm going to take a short break. I'm done with 320. I'm fixing to move up. And that's 320, right? Yeah, that's 320. So I'll be at 400 here. That's pretty good. I may just get this heat treated today. I'm going to look at the clock. And I still have to go up and sit in the front porch with my wife because I don't know how many days of our life we got left to do that. If I bummed you out, I'm sorry. I'm just talking here. I have a lot of time to sit, sand, and think. We'll talk later. That's just pitiful. I would never spoil my cat like that. Yeah, she's on my workbench. That's pretty cool. That is a cool looking cat, man. It's a big cat. And this cat has sure settled in. Breezy, he's not happy, but he's getting used to the idea of having a second warm body in here. All right. I'm at 500. I'm going to polish it up to 600 and go heat treat it. Well, if you've watched this long and got through my talking, I am sanded up to 600. Now I'm going to heat treat this and temper it, and then tomorrow drop back to 500 and then 600, 800, 1,000, and then buff it. And let's see how good a job I did sanding. Let's see if I missed anything that I could not see. And you don't know until you put it on the buffer. All right, I got my forge outside heating up now. I'm fixing to go put it in the forge and heat treat it. And then I got the oven on warming up. I'll temper it. And that's it for me today. See you tomorrow.